There comes a moment in life, not loud, not dramatic, but unmistakable. A moment when you look at yourself and quietly realize you cannot go back to who you were. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You start seeing things differently, people differently. Even your own habits begin to feel unfamiliar. And in that stillness, something speaks. This version of you has gone as far as it can. And that's where this journey begins. Part 1, the quiet breaking point. No one talks about this phase. It's not failure. It's not success either. It's the space in between, where you're tired of your own excuses, but not yet strong enough to fully walk away from them. You still show up, but something inside you has already stepped back. You smile in conversations, but your mind is somewhere else, asking deeper questions. Why do I keep repeating the same patterns? Why do I give more than I receive? Why do I stay where I feel unseen? And slowly, painfully, clearly, you realize you've been betraying yourself to maintain comfort. Part 2, the death of the old self. Transformation doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with honesty, the kind that stings, the kind that strips you down. You start seeing your past clearly, not as memories, but as lessons you ignored. You remember every time you stayed silent when you should have spoken, every time you shrank just to fit, every time you gave loyalty to people who only saw you as an option. And it hits you. You were not weak, but you were misaligned. You were living in a way that was never designed for your growth. And now, that version of you has to go. Not with anger, not with regret, but with understanding. You don't destroy your past, you outgrow it. Part 3, the power of silence. There's a shift that happens next. You stop explaining yourself. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you finally understand not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. You begin to move differently. You observe more. You react less. You don't announce your plans anymore. You build quietly because you've learned something powerful. The more you talk, the more energy you lose. The more you show, the more people interfere. So you choose silence, not as withdrawal, but as strategy. Part 4, cutting what no longer fits. This part is not easy because growth demands separation, not from everyone, but from what no longer aligns. You start noticing some people only like you when you're small. Some relationships only survive when you're available. Some connections were built on a version of you that no longer exists. And now you face a choice: stay connected and stay limited, or step away and step into your potential. So you begin to detach, quietly. No drama, no long explanations, just distance. Because you finally understand not everything is meant to go with you. Part 5, emotional discipline. This is where most people get it wrong. They think growth means becoming cold. It doesn't. It means becoming controlled. You still feel everything: disappointment, anger, love, fear. But now, those emotions don't control your decisions. You pause, you think, you respond with intention. Because you've learned reacting is easy, mastering yourself is power. Part 6, building in the dark. Now comes the phase nobody applauds, the work no one sees, the discipline no one praises. You wake up and do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. You improve your habits, you sharpen your skills, you rebuild your mindset. Day after day, without validation, without recognition. And sometimes you wonder, is this even working? But you keep going because something inside you knows real change is invisible before it becomes undeniable. Part 7. Facing fear differently. Fear doesn't disappear, it just changes its role. Before, it stopped you. Now, it guides you. Every time you feel fear, you don't run from it. You ask, what is this trying to show me? And slowly, you begin to see fear is not the enemy. It's a signal, a sign that you're stepping into something bigger. So, instead of avoiding it, you walk through it. Part 8. The middle phase. This is the hardest part. The phase where you're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. Nothing feels stable. Nothing feels certain. And most people quit here. They go back to comfort, back to familiarity. But you don't. You stay. You endure. You keep showing up, even when nothing seems to be changing. Because deep down, you understand something rare. Consistency creates identity. Part 9. The shift. And then, one day, without warning, it happens. You respond differently. You think differently. You carry yourself differently. Situations that once broke you no longer shake you. People who once had power over you no longer affect you. And others begin to notice. They look at you and something feels different. They can't explain it, but they can feel it. Because you didn't just change your habits, you changed your foundation. Final part. Becoming unrecognizable. This is what it means to become unrecognizable. Not louder, not more aggressive, but more grounded, more focused, more certain. You don't need to prove anything anymore. Your presence speaks. Your discipline shows. Your silence